Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Imogen. I'm going into my third year of geography with German at the London School of Economics, and today I have a very exciting video for you. I'm joined by a very special guest to talk all about studying abroad at LSE.
Hello everyone, my name is Iris. I am based in the US, but I'm doing my study abroad here at the LSE, doing economics in the general course program.
So how long is the general course program?
Yeah, so the general course program is 1 year at LSE. It's usually during the junior year for the US, and you would be taking, a mix of second and third year classes here, so from September to June.
So what's your junior year? Is that your third year of university?
Yeah, so that would be my third year in the US out of 4.
Okay. Nice, so that's the equivalent of like, if we did study abroad from a UK university, we would also do that in our third year. And the general course students, are they mostly American? Are they from all over the world? Like, who can do the general course?
Yeah, so the general course program is mostly American students, since, it makes sense that we're both English-speaking countries, but there are also a few students from Singapore, Taiwan, India, we have one from China, so really all over the place, but mostly from the United States.
And what's your home university?
I go to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C.
And how many people from Georgetown have come to LSE to do their general course year this year?
So this year there are about 4 of us, so not too many. So it's been really nice to be meeting people from other universities. There is a huge group from a random business school in Boston called Babson. So it's pretty interesting. There's like a huge variety of students from all over the place.
So how many students are there overall? Obviously you said there's 4 from your university and there's like a large group from Babson. I've actually met some people from Babson, so that makes sense now you say that. But how many are there in total doing general course this year?
I initially thought it was going to be a pretty small cohort, but actually there's around 300 of us.
Wow.
So it's a pretty big group, and I don't know everyone in the group, but I have made some pretty close friends despite that.
And for context, my course, which is geography at LSE, is only 40 students. So the general course group is quite big. Like, I've interacted with quite a few of them. And you have a whole department, is that right?
So the way it works is that we can choose which department we want to study at LSE. So I'm in economics department, but we can choose courses from all the different departments. So I'm currently taking 2 courses in economics, but also some like in math and philosophy and IR.
So what is the point of being in a department? Is that for the social events and just so that you're like associated with the department? You take 4 courses, right, at LSE? If you're taking 4 all from different departments, what is the benefit of having one specific department that you're supposedly like a part of?
Yeah, I feel like it is part of the social cohesion, and part of it is also, just to put on your resume. And then we also have an academic advisor who can help us out with selecting courses.
Yeah, of course, because we also, all of the normal LSE students have an academic advisor. So you also have that as part of general course.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to pick a department so that they can assign you somebody from within that department. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So why on earth did you decide to come to LSE? Why, when you were choosing your year abroad, I'm assuming you had different options to go to different universities. Why did you pick here?
So there were a few considerations I made. The first is I actually had heard about the general course program before even starting university, and I heard that it's a really good blend for my interests, which are economics and political science. I mean, obviously, London School of Economics
and political science.
Right.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, and so you have the prestige, I guess, and the name recognition, which is kind of surface level, but then beyond that, I think the fact that I don't have to learn another language, but also I really wanted to immerse myself in a different culture. I think London is a very, very international city, even more so than I imagined, and I really chose this location because of that. I didn't necessarily want to do like Oxford or Cambridge because they are slightly farther out. I did want to be in the center of the action.
So you talked about how you do courses from different departments. How does your course selection process work?
Yeah, so in the very beginning, when we apply to the program, we have the ability to make an initial selection of what classes we're interested in, and then later on, we have a more official selection process where we, fill out a form, and then we go through the actual LSE process of course selection, which is very hectic. There's a lot of different course approvals that we need because we do have different backgrounds at American universities and like different prerequisites. So it is a little bit challenging at first, but there is a lot of support. We emailed the professors beforehand to make sure that we have approval, and just to make sure that, we're actually ready to take the courses we're interested in.
Yeah, because when you're talking about prerequisites, for us as students who come from LSE, a lot of the time we'll have had to take, say, GY 121 in order to be able to do, I don't know, GY 230, but establishing whether you've done the content that we were taught in that first year, I guess is quite a complicated process, and that's why maybe your course selection is a little bit different to ours.
Yeah.
Is there a general rule on how your grading counts from the UK to going back to your university? Because for us, we have this weird system where we get thirds, 2-1s, 2-2s, and firsts. That's not in the right order, but yeah, you get this weird British grading system. How on earth do they translate that back into an American system where you've got, what is it, GPAs, and it's completely foreign to me.
Right, so we receive 2 grades. The first is the class grade, so that's about participation, going to classes, the more formative stuff. And then we also receive a grade for the final exams during the summer term. And then the home university gets to decide which grades they're going to take. So I'm pretty lucky in that my home university only takes the exam grade. Right. And as long as we don't fail, we get credit for the course, and it actually does not count towards our GPA at all. They still list the grades that we received, but it's not going to be officially affecting our transcript.
But some of the other general course students, their participation counts, including formatives, which for us LSE students doesn't count at all. Our formatives are purely there for us to get feedback and improve before we then do our summatives, which count for our grades. But for you guys, some of your formatives and even turning up to class counts?
Basically, if you don't go to class and you don't do those assignments, it will negatively impact the class grade.
So I guess if you're considering study abroad or doing general course at LSE, make sure you look at how your home university are going to consider your grades that you get from here, because obviously you said it's quite rigorous. You've got to know what you're letting yourself in for at LSE. And so how would you say LSE support you as a general course student? Because obviously you guys know roughly what we get as an undergraduate student. How does that differ for you?
So in addition to the academic advisor, we also have a dean who we have pretty close contact to. He gives us the presentation and orientation at the very beginning, and also we can ask him about course approvals. And then a lot of the professors and lecturers know that, the general course students might have different backgrounds, and so they are generally more accommodating to meet our specific requirements. And then also there's a lot of actually social programming that happens. We have, someone who basically is in charge of all the various social events. So we've gone to different boat parties. We had a retreat at the Cumberland Lodge in Windsor.
No way!
Yeah, and we have a bunch of events going to Cambridge, Oxford on the weekends, just to make sure that, we do have the opportunity to explore the area and to get to know each other more, because we are only here for 1 year.
That's so good to know. I had no idea.
Yeah, and it's also subsidized, which is really great because it can get expensive traveling.
So you've talked about your little retreats and your trips to Oxford and Cambridge, you lucky thing. What is the balance like between academics and social life? Because this is a balance that a lot of students at LSE find quite difficult, and it's the reputation within the UK and even internationally is LSE is the London School of no social life. Is this true of the general course as well?
Well, I would say that for a study abroad program, LSE is definitely more on the rigorous side for academics. I have different friends who are studying at various other European universities, and they're basically just on a 6-month vacation. Here, you definitely do have to try. It also depends on your university, since some are pass-fail, while other universities actually consider, the grades that you receive.
Okay.
So it's really what you make of it, I think. In terms of social life, there's a lot of various trips that are going on, and in terms of nightlife as well, there are people who will go out clubbing and go to pubs and bars, and so I think it's whatever you want to make of it.
So it's a bit as an undergrad, you find your people, you do what you want to do, and you just make the most of your year.
Yeah, I think one distinction though is that the general course participation in societies is slightly lower because we are only here for a year, and a lot of people are interested in traveling as opposed to maybe committing 15 hours a week to consulting club.
Yeah. That's so LSE, consulting club. Do you feel like you've integrated into LSE?
So it has only been 3 weeks, so it's a little bit hard to tell, but I would say that I feel a little bit more close with the general course students as opposed to the rest of the LSE body, and I actually talked to a lot of master's students since they are often, you know, closer in age than maybe the freshers.
Yeah.
But they're also still new to campus.
That's really interesting that you say that, because I forget that you guys are obviously older. You should be in essentially my year. I mean, I'm only 1 year out from being a master's student, so yeah. And I guess if you're considering study abroad, you're considering general course LSE, the one thing that we really want to ask Iris here is, what are some things that you wish you knew before you started the programme? If you were sat in somebody's situation now where they're thinking about doing general course and they're not quite sure, what do you wish that somebody had whispered in your ear?
So one thing is the way the UK education system works in general, in terms of, you know, the various terms. Like, I had never heard of the difference between a let term and I still don't even know how to pronounce it.
Michaelmas? Yeah, we're Michaelmas time now.
Yeah, and then the summer term where you just have exams the entire time. I wish someone had told me what the purpose of each term was. So, for instance, for the summer term, it ends a lot later than the US would be. In the US, most universities end around like late May. The exam season here ends in late June. I do know that for undergrads, most of the exams take place earlier on.
Yeah.
But this can affect things like internship opportunities, since a lot of internships in the US begin June 1st. And so that's something to keep in mind. The general course does have the option to take those exams in our home country.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's a unique opportunity here, but there is a fee. Yeah, and I wish there was a little bit more guidance on, you know, how to navigate London. I feel like it's kind of a mess. I didn't know that I was supposed to call my bank to tell them that I was moving abroad, and so my credit card got locked for a few days. But
God.
I wish people had told me a little bit more about how the cost of living is like. It's not necessarily like expending a lot at a certain time. It's more like you're spending very frequently small amounts, and that adds up over time.
For sure. And I think as any international student though, that can be a little bit difficult. And I guess the main pro of like coming to a university like LSE is it's a 70% international university anyway. So there is that benefit of the international community, but like moving to a new country in itself is difficult.
Yeah,
and like,
for sure.
Yeah, if we can kind of demystify the process a little bit, then that'd be really helpful. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for chatting to us today, Iris. I really hope if you're considering study abroad, if you're considering the general course here at LSE, this has been a useful video for you. And if it has, as ever, give it a big thumbs up and do leave us a comment down below. If there are any questions that you have about general course, I'm sure if you leave them in the comment section, I'll be able to get in touch with Iris and get some answers for you and answer those down below. Anyway, that is all for today. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you next time with a new video. Bye!